Hello, everyone, and welcome back to All in FPL. I'm joined this week by the money man, Josh Wooldridge, missing our normal host, JB. He's abandoned us after a crap game week, as usual. So just the two of us today. Josh, how are you doing?
All good, mate. Without the old man around, we can have a bit of fun today. I think, talk a bit more informally. I think today, just about what we just saw, really, isn't it?
Yeah, super quick one this week, I reckon. Quick 30 minutes. Just go through our teams, what happened in the last game week, anything we saw that stood out, and then sort of maybe look very briefly ahead to next game week. But with the international break, it's so far away that we're not going to spend too much time on that, and we're back with you next week to look at the next game week in more detail. How did you do this week, Josh?
Well, I am bottom of the pile out of two, but I certainly wouldn't be bottom of the pile out of three if there was three of us here. So
I was partly joking when I said that about JB not being here because of his score, but looking at his score, yeah, that's probably why. On wildcard as well. Jesus, let's go through JB's team first, then shall we? Let's have a bit of fun.
there's an explanation for everything. Like you in life, you got to remember that. I mean, 40 points. What's this? I guarantee. I'm not even going to look at it, but I guarantee his team last week would have got at least 20 more than this. Would you say? Without seeing it?
Yeah, and looking at it, yeah, there's some points in the Salah. Doesn't have Salah now, does he?
Yeah, that was obviously a big call he made. He mentioned last week he just preferred Luis Diaz from for the discount price. Diaz might be a problem this week coming with the international break. He might not start this week, I think. But
He won't start. Yeah,
the thing is, who are they going to play? Like
yeah, that's the
they've got
problem.
no attackers.
Is Gakpo hurt then?
They're saying he's back. He should be back.
And then who's the other guy? Jota. What's going on with him?
He was suspended. He's fine now as well. So it'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
probably
So
Jota,
there'll be those
Gakpo.
three. Yeah,
Yeah.
Salah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the likes of Darwin or Diaz off the bench for half an hour. It could be good still in that kind of game in particular.
Definitely. So not in that game, not in that. But yeah, so for audio listeners, if we actually get this out on audio, or I don't know if we do, but JB had Areola in goal for the 1 pointer, chose him over Turner, which was a bad decision.
First one of many, minus
First
5.
man.
There we
Then
go.
Matty Cash at the back, who couldn't keep the clean sheet against Wolves. So that's two. Trippier got his lucky assist and two bonus for some reason. For a 6 pointer, he's been very annoying. Pedro Porro, fine, clean sheet, 6 points for him. He had Luis Diaz, like we said, 2 pointer. Bowen, 2 pointer. Madison, 6 pointer. Son got him his 6 points, including the captaincy, so natural three. Hoyland, interesting pick, 2 points. Watkins got his steady, back to being slow and steady. Watkins, his 5 pointer, and then Haaland, two. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't scream a wild card team looking at it now. I think I might be wild carding out of this if I had this team.
Yeah, I think he obviously went Haaland over Salah, which in terms of budget, which that's 13 points gone this particular week. I mean, and I think it was fair enough to do that as well, but he just got brutally swung on that particular one, I would say. The triple Spurs was pretty standard, I think. Trippier, Watkins, Cash, these are all very normal names on the wild card. Like Areola was on every wild card. Dan Burns probably like on quite a few wild cards as well, I would say, just from a value perspective. Yeah. And then his sort of differentials he's gone for is definitely Luis Diaz, Hoyland, Anthony Gordon as an eighth attacker. I didn't like this personally. I just prefer having a 4-5 on the bench, but
Yeah, same. I don't see
seems
the
like
point, like what you're doing every week. Like,
yeah, but it was a very popular strategy on wildcard. This was to go for the eighth attacker, and it might help him cover Luis Diaz next week, actually, which is fair enough if he's thought from that perspective. Would you bench Diaz in his spot, or would you play Diaz still?
there you go, right? You have to bench. Well, you're supposed to bench him, but whether he will do or not is the question, right?
I think he will bench him. Yeah, I think he will. Just because why else go Gordon? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they've got a decent fixture. So have they got Villa or something? No, Palace. They got Palace.
At
Sorry.
home. Isn't great, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously going to roll next week. he set it up very like steady, safe, as I said. So just with a few flair picks that both blanked this week, basically. So yeah, terrible score, but not much to worry about going forward. I don't think he probably will do a couple of moves next, like the week after the international break, or the one after that. So week 10 or 11 or something. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Like Hoyland's obviously got Sheffield away next and Fulham away. But yeah, he's got a really nice run, doesn't he, Hoyland? So Sheffield away, City at home, which is bad, but then Fulham away, Luton at home, Everton away. It's a pretty good run.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go on to mine. I think he's he's had a terrible week, and he knows he has as well. But yeah, I'll work out his official score that he would have got. Yeah. His what if score. Yeah, and I'll let him know what he would have got. I'm sure he already knows, to be honest. But yeah.
I saw that the other day, by the way, just a brief aside note, my what if score from if I'd have left it from the start of the season, which is about 50 points better off.
That is fine.
I'm pretty sure it's predominantly just because they've got Anderson off the bench every single week for his 13 pointers.
Yeah, you'd have fluked them points this week. And speaking of fluking points, a lot of people fluked the Arsenal defence points this week.
I didn't fluke it.
You didn't fluke it at all. You knew they were going to clean, but yeah, some people will have fluked that on for. I can't remember who didn't play. It was a bit of a surprise, but there was a few defenders who didn't play anyway. So yeah. My week was not much better than JB's, but for the double Palace defence. So Johnston and Guehi came up absolute trumps, 9 and 9 each. Guehi got the 3 baps this week, which was really significant to boost that up. Yeah, that's pretty much the only difference between mine, other than the Salah as well. So Trent blanked. He's an atrocious pick. I already want to sell him. He's just like the money in the bank, basically, for when I need some money, because they are a joke defensively, aren't they? They're absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. I just saw your bench then. That's a pretty grim one.
Yeah, I've only just seen that myself, actually. I saw it last night. Just like, obviously would have never started those 2 guys at the end. Like, I just wouldn't have over the 3 defenders I've played, but like, yeah.
Pretty grim stuff.
Yeah, I was actually going to play Pau Torres as well. I was going to have double Arsenal defence on the bench, so I would have still had pretty similar bench shit points, but I might have had Pau Torres over Guehi, which is like much of a muchness, obviously. So yeah, I think whichever way I played it was going to be a similar outcome. Matty Cash, as you said, blanked. I had Bruno Fernandes instead of Hoyland. I brought him in for what you said, that the fixture run's really good still. I think I'm going to keep him for at least the next sort of couple. I'm definitely keeping him for the Sheffield game, obviously, and see what happens after that. But because they got City after that, but
he looked all right against. I watched that game against
Brentford.
Yeah, he looked all right. He was shooting a lot. He started going very deep towards the end of the game though, which was a bit.
Yeah, my thinking with that one is I keep it for Sheffield, and then he might be my way to get to like an Arsenal mid for the Sheffield United at home game that they've got in week 10. It's the same price, so it just seems like the obvious way to go. But we'll see, and I'll certainly be getting him back at some point because I love the guy, obviously.
Makes sense. So two obvious talking points in this team, which one is the captaincy. We'll start there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a great punt, to be honest. As I said, I think ironically, he actually had the highest expected minutes of all the Tottenham assets. Son was always going off on 65 or 70. That was locked in. So that was his expected minutes guaranteed. Maddison's been being hooked off as well every game at like 70 or 80. So I thought he might not this game, but it happened again. So that was another strange one. Kulusevski's played close to 90 most games. So he is the other one who had quite high expected minutes. But I thought
his expected goals just way less, right? His expected returns just way less. Kulusevski's.
Yeah, exactly. And so Richarlison's got the highest XG and the highest X minutes. So I thought I'd captain that guy, but obviously very unfortunate with the red card just before half time.
And the open goal miss,
yeah, the open goal miss on 1 minute. Yeah, I think his XG was close to 1, wasn't it? It was like 0.9. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, it feels like it should be even higher than that. He had like he had a 1-on-1 and an open goal in the first 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed.
XG for 90 very high.
Yeah, I'm chuffed with my decision there. To be honest, I was never captain in Salah. I thought Brighton might have a little bounce back game actually after the humiliation at Villa. I thought they might like look a bit more solid. They didn't, but I thought I thought that was my theory behind like not considering Salah. So yeah, of the Tottenham assets, I really wanted Richarlison. He's a 2-week, 3-week punt because he's just not nailed after like the next couple of weeks. But for this particular game, I knew he was going to start. I thought his expected minutes was the highest, and so I went for him, and it was a good pick. He missed 2 big chances, so yeah.
And then no Haaland.
Yeah, no Haaland. 1-0 to me. We will definitely chalk that one down as. Was obviously this was the free. Yeah, this was the free game. Really, he was obviously not going to be that highly captain this week, just because of how tough the fixture was. Salah, I used the money on Salah instead. I would have never had Salah and Haaland, so for me it was a one or the other. So yeah, very happy with Salah so far, and Salah's fixtures are just better, to be honest, for the next sort of 6, 7, 8 weeks, all the way till Haaland has Luton in 16. So I'm happy to just take it on for that period, and then I'll probably flip it round. I'll flip Salah to Haaland at that point. So yeah, going to be a very fun ride for the next 7, 8 weeks. Lots of highs, hopefully not too many lows, but they will be there. So we'll take it in our stride, knowing that we've taken a high variance approach here. So yeah.
It'll go one way or the other, won't it?
Yeah, I think like people always say, "Oh, it evens out over the period." No, it might not. it might be a 60-point swing either way. Let's try and be on the right end of it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I feel like you really, really wanted that like first that captaincy haul this week. Like if you'd have managed to land on Salah cap this week, it would have been huge. But
yeah, but I'd have been the favourite to win by 60 points rather than lose by 60 points. Now it's not quite so much, but we're 13 ahead, so
yeah,
I'll take it all day long. Yeah, Darwin's high variance play obviously as well. Absolute punt, but he looks really fun. He's really good. I consider him and Richarlison pretty similar. Like not completely nailed, but when they play, they just look phenomenal. Like they're gonna have loads of chances. So let's hope one of them hits some really big scores that other people don't have. And Watkins is just a steady Eddie up front. So yeah, that's what we've got. Probably like I've probably got like 5 spots different to most of the wild cards, right? I would say. I don't think many would have gone double Palace defense.
No.
Trent's mental, obviously.
Yeah, pretty mental.
Bruno, don't think many would have gone Bruno. And then like maybe Richarlison's mental. Yeah, Darwin. Yeah, so yeah. Pretty much everyone else would have had Son, Maddison, Salah, Watkins. Trippier, everyone would have had probably. Matty Cash, everyone's probably got. So, yeah, we've gone a bit different.
And I think, like Trent, you never expected it really to come this week, however, in terms of like the clean sheet side at least. So, I mean, these are the 3 fixtures now with him. You got to hope you get something from 3 or 4.
Yeah, and as I say, like he is the bank. Like if I do choose to go the Bruno route to get an Arsenal midding, because I might need that for captaincy, is the thing. So if I choose that route for the Arsenal player, I can keep Trent for the fixture run and then sell him when I need some money. You know what I mean? But yeah, we might have to be rid of Richarlison pretty soon as well. So I'm very aware that that's we might need a move for that or Darwin or
you know get rid of Richarlison.
What's that?
I don't think you need to get rid of Richarlison. I think it'll be fine.
I hope so. Yeah, they've got a lot of bodies when everyone's fit, but yeah, we might be okay.
I think he likes and stuff.
Yeah,
despite the hockey.
Right. Should we look ahead? Well, we'll talk about the games a little bit first, if you want. Anything stand out to you at the weekend?
We can talk about my team if you want quickly.
Bloody hell, I forgot about that.
The 80 pointer.
That's so self-centered of me. Yeah. Yeah, 80 points. What do you want to say? I mean, it's obviously incredible, and you've still got your wild card as well, haven't you?
Yeah, up to 1.6 million. So really, and knocking on the door at a top million that we all hope for at the start of the season. Yeah, got very, very lucky this week. Palace defense came in despite being one of the most ridiculous games I've seen from highlights in terms of like Forest should have probably scored 3 or 4.
Yeah, I watched this game live because I was in a poker tournament while it was on, so I watched the whole 90 minutes. It was absolutely unbelievable game of football. It was so good. And like, I thought it was going to be one of them, a drab nil-nil affair. It was not. It was a great nil-nil affair. You know what I mean? It was absolutely incredible.
It was last on match of the day too. It was completely unwarranted for it to be there.
Yeah. It's where they've just looked at the scores, right? They haven't looked at what actually happened in the game. This game was one of the best games of the weekend. It was so good.
I think they tend to put like the last game of the week on. So that is in the 5:31. Tends to be later on in match today anyway to give them time to edit and stuff. But interesting. So they've got the double clean there from Palace anyway. Then Saliba's clean against City was very, very welcomed. That's when you know it's your week when you end on that. Udogie, obvious clean sheet, so sweep at the back. Richarlison didn't do it, same as you, did the same move. Sterling, very lucky, 16 points for me. I was trying any which way to get rid of him on Saturday morning, but couldn't afford the moves with him out. So pretty lucky there, and he looked really, really good as well. He could have actually had more returns, so pretty happy. Ended up keeping him. Maddison, obviously fine, 6 points. Salah did the business, same as you, 15. I have Bruno as well. And then Haaland and I capped Darwin, who actually looked pretty crap. Watching it live, to be honest, he didn't really do too much, but he got the assist for Salah's goal. So,
The dummy, wasn't it? Was it a miss or a dummy or what was it? By Harvey?
Yeah, we passed it, and Harvey just sort of like, didn't quite, did it, just left it for him. So, yeah.
Was it intentional or did he just like miss the ball?
No, it was intentional.
Okay. Oh, he's got Darwin in his team then, hasn't he?
Yeah, clearly.
He's got Doyle.
That must be the reason. That must be the reason. So a good game week, which was nice. Particularly after like a couple of weeks ago, I had a similar thing where Saturday went really, really well, but then Sunday was a complete disaster. So it was nice actually this time. It just sort of held out and improved with Salah and Darwin doing the business. So.
Yeah, you were already pretty locked in from Saturday. I think this time, just with there was a lot of ownership to play. Right, to be fair, like a lot of people.
The Villa lads could have killed me, and the Newcastle lads as well. So Villa and Newcastle were the bad ones.
Yeah, and they didn't do much damage at all. Really, it was like minimal returns from everybody, except my boy Pau Torres. Of course, he could have got you. But yeah, it's just I think this is one of the highest scores I saw this week. Honestly, I couldn't believe it when I logged in this morning and saw you got 80. I was like, what on earth? Like, wow. I mean, I won all my head-to-head games with 59. Like, I blitzed everybody, you know what I mean? So, like, 80 is, like, absolutely monstrous. Yeah. Very good week.
One of those nice ones where sort of, like, because I've not wildcard and everyone else around me has, it's sort of quite a lot of picks now that have sort of become relatively low ownership comparative, like Sterling, whereas he was probably like 50% in most good leagues a couple of weeks back, is now like probably like 5%. So it's just it's just massive. And the double Palace defense has just been so good for me all season.
You couldn't keep Sterling on wildcard, I don't think. You just absolutely couldn't. I mean, you wanted to get rid in your normal team, didn't you? So it's like, yeah, but and you've sort of. He can have another couple of weeks now if needed, really. I mean, it's not good fixtures, but Brentford at home next week, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, Arsenal at home, then Brentford at home, then Spurs away, then City at home. It is bad. And Newcastle away, Brighton at home, United away, Everton away.
I mean, you can see why people got rid. The next two are all right, I would say. As a pair, they're okay. Both home games at the Bridge, at least. So
yeah, it's definitely not ideal though.
You wouldn't keep him at one wildcard at any point, would you? Which is why it's one of the nice, welcomed, lucky ones. You know what I mean? Like, because you've got him now and no one else does, and it's quite funny because there was no way you could keep him on wildcard. So yeah. Our friend wanted to actually. Our friend Jacob was absolutely adamant he was going to keep Sterling on wildcard. Then he just didn't right at the end. And it's really unlucky because he was the only one with that read. You know what I mean? No one else had that. So it was like, yeah, bad luck, mate.
It was the minutes that was the problem, right? It was just concern about him not starting.
I wasn't worried about that, to be honest. Like, Mudryk is absolutely rubbish. So I'm just not. I know he's looked a bit better recently, but I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned that the fixtures go very bad very soon, which is now. So it's like, yeah. What? So you got one transfer this week. Have you got any considerations when you're going to wildcard? What are you thinking about now, next week, or what?
I might hit the button this week, to be honest with you. I'm still undecided. It's just It's close because Darwin's. I don't think it's going to play next week because of
Yeah.
the international travel. I don't think we talked about it on here. I think we talked about it before, but because Darwin's traveling, he's got a game just before the deadline, and the deadline's a 12:30 kickoff on the Saturday. There's a pretty good chance he doesn't play. Richarlison should be okay actually because it's a Monday game.
Yeah,
But
Richarlison's absolutely fine, by the way. It's Diaz and Darwin that are the problem. Yeah.
will Brennan Johnson be back in the attack by then?
They said he's back. Yeah, he should be back.
Oh, so that's a concern. Then the Sterling fixtures worries me. Bruno, I'd probably keep still, like you said, just because of the
They got 4 out of next 5 good fixtures, basically. So
yeah, exactly. The double Palace defense has Newcastle away, Spurs. It's not too bad to be fair. Still pretty good. So I'd have a big problem with that. But yeah, it's okay. The team's okay. It's just like, could I just make it a lot better by wildcarding? But I've not really tinkered with it yet to sort of say yes or no, really.
the thing is, like, would you still have Darwin on wildcard? I feel like you would, right?
I don't know.
The fixtures are so good.
Yeah, probably would. I'd probably just find a way to bench him.
Yeah,
Sweet.
but it's hard to find a way to bench him. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're going with Archer, for example. Like,
I'd
it's
have to
hard.
get like yeah, I'd replace the defenders, right, and play 4 at the back. That's how I'd do it. I wouldn't do any scored nonsense. If there's a 8th attacker, I'd just make sure I have another playing defender. But
Would you then put Darwin on the bench ahead of Archer still?
yeah,
Yeah, I would as well. Yeah, I was going to say I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's actually fine as a first sub, to be honest. Yeah, you could go something like the Villa defenders we talked about. The Newcastle defense have obviously got your Palace boys this week, which is a good fixture. There's more, and Adogi you probably keep. He's got Fulham at home, so yeah, there's enough defenders to play, isn't there? Where you could play a back 4 for still quite cheap, couldn't you? Really? So
yeah. Like if I wildcarded, I'd probably sell Richarlison, Sterling, Saliba. Would I keep Saliba?
he's got good fixtures from 10, so it's not too far away now. Like they've got Sheffield United at home the week after this one.
Yeah,
So
I'd probably keep Saliba.
you might flip to Gabriel, but it's the same thing basically.
Yeah, it'd be more of a tidy up to us if I did wildcard now. Really, I think.
You bet your bench. The 2 bench guys obviously would go Kabore and Henry. That's 2. Dubravka, you might get a second keeper if you fancied it.
I think the Bronx are looking good. That's our faith.
Would you go with Son? Do you think over Richarlison? Would you go with Son?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you would just have the same team.
But I'd have to get the money from somewhere, right? Which would be tough.
Haaland.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Now Son would be fine because Son's not that. Like if you, I don't know, because you have got quite a cheap defense, haven't you? Actually, I've just seen it's got like there's not much money in there, is there? So it's like
It would have to be like Sterling out to a cheap guy, or like Bruno out, or something like that. Okay.
yeah, you would have to fund all this somehow. Yeah, you're right, but you could stick to your cheap defense strategy, I think, and just go with like the likes of Cash, Danburn, you know what I mean, Pau Torres, whatever. So it's like,
I don't think wildcard looking at it, to be honest. I just don't like it.
yeah, I don't know where you'd land this week is the interesting thing. Like, I think you might just be not that happy with your team that you wildcard to, you know what I mean, this week. Next week's much better.
Yeah.
So you got to find a punt if you're going to do it the week after instead, or would you consider rolling this week, or do you think you need to do something?
I would consider rolling. I'd probably do a defender move and just get rid of Henry.
Yeah, I would as well. I think it just like it covers you either way. Like it's like if you're going to wildcard, then in 10, that's fine because you've only got 1 FT. If you don't want to wildcard in 10, you've at least got like an extra sub because at the moment you have 3 defenders who play, the other 2 don't play. So it's like, you know what I mean? The bench is very thin at the moment. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy is at 4.5. Probably maybe Pau Torres. Maybe
Dan Burn, Pau Torres. I
just can't be asked that Newcastle defense. I just want to anti-rail it, to be honest with you. I just hate them.
Well, so do I. I mean, that's why I went with 0 as well. But it's like
that team just fucks me off. It's just like I was watching that PSG game in the midweek, and the commentators cooing over them. Oh, what a fairy tale story! Grow up. been bought by bloody Saudi Arabia. They spent hundreds and hundreds of millions, which you never hear about, by the way. For some reason, that never makes the press because Eddie
Someone
Howe's
said,
done such a good job.
Someone said to me in my chat last week, they've done so well on a shoestring budget. What the fuck are they talking about? Like what they've spent about £300 million just in transfer fees, like in a year. Like it's crazy. Yeah, absolutely crazy.
I think it's more than that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean in the last 12 months, literally, I think it's about 300 million or something.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Gordon doesn't come cheap. I mean, and he's crap, so it's like nah, he's all right. But they literally signed 2 left wingers this summer alone, like Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon, who are both like young, you know what I mean, British players.
For a fortune. Isaac obviously was loads, right? Wasn't Isaac like 70 million or something?
Yeah. Joe Linton was loads. Obviously, that was about 2 years ago now, but still pretty much like, you know what I mean, still within this Trippier.
Yeah. It's just that they've not signed any good defenders.
Livramento was like 30 million or something, like really a lot, and he doesn't even play. Like it's like, yeah, lots of money being spent by the fairy tale club, the underdogs.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I'd go to Newcastle just because I don't like him. Just good FPL play. I might just triple the Palace defense on Real Newcastle proper.
That's what you need, more Palace defenders. That's what this team needs. Oh God, yeah.
I'll go with my last week's shout, mate. Well, Bolly, they've got Luton. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm gutted. I'm gutted our knee's not playing next week because I've held him for ages on certain games and like for this plum Luton fixture, and now they're like, oh, he's injured for like a month. Bye. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, fuck.
But yeah, doesn't it, when you do that?
Yeah, there might not be enough changes in your team to justify a wild card. It's I don't think so. There's some preferences. I think Richardson's going to play.
When everyone else is wild carding as well, I like not wild carding them. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it just gives you a bit more advantage later on. When
you could have change
massively.
Yeah. You could have a huge advantage here with this. If you like, I think, I don't know, it might be get rid of Sterling this week. Like that might be or maybe you keep him for the next 2 and then get rid kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think there's no in between really. You either get rid now or you play out the 2 games like Arsenal at home, Brentford at home. So
yeah,
we'll see. I think where you land.
I'll probably just play it out, but it could be Richarlison could go if there's some bad news like that. You know, Brennan Johnson's going to play or something because he's travelled that far, something like that. But
Monday's quite late though, isn't it? Monday night as well. They'll actually
and the fixtures
train on Sunday, obviously. So
even if he doesn't start, you know, he's coming off the bench. He's going to get. Actually, he didn't actually get that many minutes when he was benched, but
he was just injured then, though, right?
I don't know. Was he injured or was he dropped? I'm not sure.
He was injured. Yeah.
We'll see.
But I think he would get 30 minutes off the bench. But I think he just starts, mate. I really think he just starts. Given that it's Monday night, I think it just makes such a big difference.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's Thursday morning, the game, right?
I think so, yeah.
Grow up. It's Thursday to Monday.
It's not a time thing, mate. It's the fact that they might think he's shit. they might see those 2 misses and think, why are we starting this guy? He can't hit a barn door.
Maybe Ange should just take a look and see that he's the starting centre forward for Brazil and see who plays around him and think, oh, he might be all right, actually. He might be better.
This is the weekend we're away as well, isn't it? When these fixtures run.
Yeah. Are Barcelona playing that weekend? Well, they will be playing, but are they playing? They're playing at the shitty replacement stadium.
Yeah, they are on the Sunday against Athletic Bilbao.
That was a mad stadium, that was, by the way. I went to that a few weeks ago when I went with my family. And it's like you walk to the stadium and it's like a palace. The stadium's actually in a palace. It's absolutely crazy. Really? But yeah, it's better than the new camp, must be. I've never been there, but it must be better. Like, it was a palace. Literally, it was like an actual palace. You had to walk up a whole mountain to get to the stadium. It was absolutely bizarre. But yeah.
The game?
Yeah. It was a good game, actually. They were 2-0 down. They won 3-2 in the last 10 minutes. You know who got the winner?
Lever?
João Cancelo.
Cancelo, wow.
What a hero. Yeah, Lever got the first two, obviously. And then Cancelo like came in from some weird CDM position, like the Frank Lampard role where he like came at the edge of the box, ran in, and he just like tapped it in. It was so good. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, in terms of my spot, would you captain Son or Salah, or do you think it's too early to say?
I would captain Son. I think the fixture's a lot better against Fulham at
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
I've got the thing as well. I mean, to be fair, I've got triple Liverpool as well. So I've got triple Liverpool, triple Tottenham, but I do have triple Tottenham midfielders. So I feel like I should just go with Son and just be all in on that Monday night game. You know what I mean? When they've got maximum rest
Oh,
from
it's
the
nice. Well,
international.
you don't want to cap the early game on a Saturday, do you?
It's early versus late. It's the two extremes.
Yeah,
Saturday lunchtime, Monday night. Like it's like, yeah. And
you want the
I
long
can
vote.
I can use it theory to on this one as well, Doyle. I can be like, they'll have maximum rest from the international break Monday night. I can be like, I could just make up things to justify my story. It'll be great. So yeah,
What about
Son cap.
Richarlison cap?
Yeah, I mean, if I knew he was going to start, I would go. I would do that again. Seriously, I actually would. But I think I don't know he's going to start this one, so I have to go Son. Like this weekend, he had to start because Johnson was out. You know what I mean? But Monday night's tougher. So it's going to be Son cap, Maddison vice cap, I think, or Salah vice cap maybe. Tottenham Fulham, by the way, was one of the first lockdown games, one of the first COVID games to get cancelled, like 3 years ago. So there's no way I can go Son cap, Maddison vice cap. There's absolutely no way. Have to go Salah vice cap, early kickoff. Use your knowledge from the last 3 years. You know what I mean? It's like
Josh predicting the next outbreak.
that something will happen. Like near to the stadium in London, some major bereavement that like cancels all sport. You know what I mean? Like King Charles will be gone or something. You know what I mean? It'll just be like we need to vice captain the guy on Saturday lunchtime.
You don't get these conspiracy theories anywhere else, folks.
Yeah, always captain a guy not on the same team as your cap. Always vice a guy not on the same team as your captain. That's number one piece of advice this week. In terms of the rest of my team for this week coming up, we've got the same goalkeeper. We're just going to have to ride it and hope it's 0-0 or 1-0 to Palace, aren't we? I think. I'm definitely playing him over Areola because I don't think West Ham will clean at Villa either, to be honest.
I don't think so.
No. And I'm playing the swing factor on that is I'm playing Watkins, which means I obviously think Villa are going to score. You know what I mean? So it's like I haven't got any Newcastle attack, so try and hit the big week like you hit this week.
Yeah, basically.
Double Villa defense I've got at home to West Ham. I think I like that. I think that could work out.
Seems fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
West Ham
like I said, I got triple Liverpool at home to Everton, triple Spurs at home to Fulham, and then triple Villa at home to West Ham, and then I've literally got Bruno Fernandes and Johnston other than that. So I think I have 3 in the early game, 3 in the last game of the week, 3 in the only Sunday game of the week next week. So Saturday, I think I've got
2 players,
one
right?
player
One
at
in
3
the
o'clock.
8 p.m. One at 3 p.m.
Yeah. Sam Johnston is my only player at 3 o'clock next week. And bearing in mind, it's a time where everyone else is going to have like all of their ownership because Newcastle play, Man City play, Arsenal's at 5:30. So again, I'll get massacred in that game as well because I've got none
Not
of
much
that.
ownership there, though.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a few defenders knocking about like you've got. It's surprising how quickly they've gone off, obviously, because of this Saka injury, which turned out to be an actual injury, by the way. But yeah, people have still got Mbeumo. You've got a bit of Brighton ownership still, Mitoma maybe. Then you got Man City, loads of Newcastle, and yeah, that should be it. I think maybe a bit of Morris still from Luton floating about. That because they got to play him that game if they've kept him till now, right? They got to play him away at Forest. Jesus Christ,
Bit of Mbeumo still around.
Bit of Pedro Neto. People love a bit of Pedro Neto. Fucking hell.
Yeah. He keeps returning to me every single game.
So yeah, you've got to keep me distracted on that Saturday lunch, Saturday 3 p.m. whatever it is.
I'll be telling you about all the Haaland goals going in.
We'll go 10-pin bowling or something. All right, we'll go go to something that's got nothing to do with football, because I don't want any part of this Haaland massacre. I don't want any part of it next week. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm guessing my spot is just an easy Haaland cap, right? Into Brighton.
Haaland's the best captain this week, definitely. Obviously, I've gone without him, and I think it's kind of negligible between him, Salah, and Son, but I think he's better than the other two. Yeah, so good luck, mate. You've got them all covered, really, haven't you? Except Son, and yeah. So hopefully Richarlison can cover him. Cool.
Yeah,
JB will be rolling. I think I'm rolling the transfer. Obviously, I think so.
Yeah,
we'll try and do another episode next Monday, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, we'll get one out again next Monday. Looking ahead to the game week ahead, a bit more detail once we've had a bit more time to think about it. / we could get any info from the international breaks. But yeah,
JB can defend himself against our slander as well.
Yeah, he'll have had time to recover. Cool.
Cheers,
Good quick one. Josh, give us the outro.
Yeah, All In FPL on YouTube. Please subscribe to us there. All In FPL on Twitter. Please engage with us. We'll always reply to you guys, follow back, etc. So please follow us there as well. And yeah, thanks for joining us. It's hopefully we get some views, even though everyone's logged off for 2 weeks because of the international break. So yeah.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
See you later.